Get them out.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Making Me Watch Movies, where this movie that you're making me watch today doesn't feel, doesn't think, doesn't give up. It's like the Terminator of movies. I mean, of STDs.
In a way, yeah. Just slower.
Doesn't give up, will never hit you out of anger. You know, all the shit Sarah Connor says in T2, the greatest action movie of all time.
Yes.
Debatable.
No.
Yes. Debatable.
I don't think so.
Debatable.
What would you debate? What's your number one? The Rock?
Face Off.
Okay.
I would listen to that debate.
Die Hard with a Vengeance. The Rock. Con Air. Bad Boys 2.
You're putting all of these, Bad Boys 2. You're putting all of these, the Emmys 2022. You're putting all of these in front of T2?
Some in front, some equal, some maybe a little behind, but all on the same level.
Dude, every scene in T2 is great. The action scenes are better than the face-off action scenes.
Nothing tops Face Off to me. Face Off always will be the coolest movie ever.
But you're talking action movie. The action scenes don't match the epicness of T2. Face Off has a good boat chase. They have some fun gunfights.
There's like three super dope scenes in Face Off.
I mean, the last like couple minutes. I mean, the last like 20 minutes of T2 was pretty awesome with the whole like machine, like the gun and the building and shit. But that's really
building shit really all the way to the fight to the fucking.
That's good, but
you don't like when she escaped like the mall chase when he's at the Galleria. That's not cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Not as cool as anything in Face Off.
Into the fucking the LA River chase scene.
Come on,
the LA River chase scene's good. The LA River chase scene's good.
That's the mall scene. That's the mall scene.
Well, the part in the LA River with the car with the big truck and that's good, but I think Face Off beats at least 3 or 4 scenes from it. The boat chase beats that. I think the shootout. I think the shootout boat chase over the rainbow. The over the rainbow shootout was pretty great.
No, I don't think that's. I don't think that's even.
I do. I think the whole like scene with at the end of it with the mirror we were talking about. That's the end of that scene is pretty awesome. I think the church scene's kind of cool, and then like
boat chase. I'll give you.
No, when T1000 steals the helicopter and then shoots up the building, that's better than the fucking over the rainbow shootout.
It's on par with it for sure.
If Over the Rainbow was playing over that scene.
If Over the Rainbow was playing over the T2 scene, it would be slightly better, but still on par.
So
he looks at the pilot. He goes, "Get out!" He goes,
yeah, that would be epic.
The rainbow. But it's like Brother Is his version, so it's also
James Cameron's got to be singing it like verbatim, just like he's a great singer. Actually,
he's on a ukulele in the Mariana Trench.
Did anyone ride a motorcycle into a helicopter in the shootout during Over the Rainbow though?
Do you know what also movie tops?
No, I don't think anybody does.
You know what other action movie?
I couldn't remember.
T2, directed by the same guy, is also True Lies. I think True Lies is better than T2. Also directed by James Cameron.
How do you say that's better?
It's like, more
look
fun.
At the scope.
It could be arguably more entertaining if you're into that.
Definitely more
vibe,
entertaining.
But as
way more fun
as a movie and as just like an overall like the quality and everything about T2.
The Abyss is better quality than T2.
Shut up. See, now you're just sounding
shitting in soup.
It's
right
not
now.
stupid. That's a fucking great movie. It all takes place in a fucking underwater.
It's a good movie.
You're
talking about
almost all of James Cameron's movies are good, but the best one,
you're just speaking
undeniable best one is
True Lies.
Judgment
Definitely True Lies is his best movie, followed by Avatar.
T2.
Both have.
True Lies followed by Avatar, then Titanic,
both
then
True
T2.
Lies and T2 have
actually Aliens.
What
is
actor?
number one. I forgot
they all
about
have
Aliens.
their merit. They
Aliens
all are
is
great.
Number one. That's James Cameron's best. Aliens.
They're not T2.
They're not, but they don't have to be. It's not as good as you think it is. It's just good.
Okay.
It's good. It's a great action movie.
At least you're showing that you don't know what you're talking about by continuing to talk about these movies.
So let's talk about.
That only helps our point with that.
It doesn't though, because your shit's just opinion.
Because based off of your opinion,
it's just your opinion.
Is silly.
It's not silly.
But 2 out of 3 opinions win.
We should. All right. You know what we should do? We should have an episode where we compare any. I'll compare any action movie to T2, and we'll watch it and we'll go through it. I'll do that with anything. Let's do it. I'll have great opinions. I'll beat you all day.
Maybe
let's do it. Come on, pussy. Let's do it
someday.
Yeah, let's do it. It'll be episode 101.
101.
They're what movie? T2. And then whatever movie you think is better than that.
All right. Any movie we want
Action
that I named.
All right. T2 and Predator.
T2 and Predator. T2 versus
Predator. I'm down.
Wait, no, we'll do T2 versus True Lies. Both have Arnold Schwarzenegger.
James Cameron, and they're
both James Cameron. Both Bill Paxton. Both Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis uncredited in T2.
That's good.
Yeah, she was actually the liquid. She was the liquid lady.
Because I don't hold True Lies to that high of a tier in his catalog. I do.
That's my favorite James Cameron movie.
I know, but T2
so good.
Is my favorite because it's the best.
It's great.
Probably ever made.
That's baloney. That's Bologna.
Why do you like to give your opinion and then shout your opinion at other people, Schwartz?
Because I shout everything. That's just me.
That is
I can't hear very well.
You say it like what you're saying is fact. Do you think what you're saying is fact and everyone else's opinion?
I'm not saying my such fact, but my opinion is definitely something I believe. So I'm going to be stronger for my opinions than yours.
Why does that even need to be said?
You just asked me the question, so I answered it.
No, I asked you because the way you're speaking sounds like you're saying fact, and then you're telling us that everything else is opinion.
You're both telling me that I'm wrong about that not being the best movie. So
yeah, that's fact.
It's not.
I'm saying I'm saying that what we're saying is fact. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You sound like an idiot now.
Sure.
Let's just get this going.
That's fact.
Goddamn moron.
What did we watch this week?
Go again.
What
are you wearing a Terminator shirt right now, Jake?
Kind of. It's a mixture of things. That's a
Stone Cold shirt.
It's a wrestling
Terminator shirt. Kenny Omega shirt.
Who the hell's Kenny Omega?
And it also says bang, so it has 3 of my interests.
You love banging
Kenny
drinks.
Omega. He's banging Kenny Omega. You just told us.
Kenny Omega did an entrance one year at a Wrestle Kingdom.
Never mind. It Follows 2014. Directed by David Robert Mitchell. Best movie since Terminator 2, Judgment Day. What are your words? F's words. F words?
My
Are we supposed to use F words?
I'm going to go fragmented. Does that work?
Yeah.
Kind of. No, my word is...
The editing was fragmented.
My words are ambiguous and atmospheric. Those are my words.
Ambiguous. Shake.
Honestly, ambiguous was going to be one of my words.
Well, can't be now.
But I'll say freaky is my F word.
Okay.
But also surreal was another word I was going to choose. Or eerie.
That's a good one. Because it's
a lake reference and it's a Michigan movie.
Yeah, Detroit, 8 Mile. 8 Mile was represented in this movie.
Yeah, I actually grew up.
I've heard it since 8 Mile.
Around this area, and my dad. It was like shot in my dad's town, basically. Like when my dad came from.
How far is that from there?
From where I grew up was about like probably less than a half hour. From 8 Mile, it's close. It's like within a few miles from 8 Mile.
Did you know Eminem?
It's like around 11 Mile, I think. I did not know Eminem.
Have you ever been to Muskegon?
I think so. That's on the east side of the state, or is that the Upper Peninsula?
That's west side, just west before side, Upper Peninsula, just before the UP. How many times you been in the UP? You know a bunch of Upers?
Not a lot. No, I've been up there a couple times though.
Upers. You drive up the 22 in the spring, just look at beautiful things.
It's a beautiful area.
An actual term they use for themselves?
Don't you love that I know that area?
Yeah, they do use the term Upers. Yeah, people from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan are referred to as
Upper
Upers.
Peninsula, UP. So they're UPers and they're like Upers. That's how they call them. So Upers.
And us Lower Peninsula people call it the UP as in the Upper Peninsula. So yeah, that's what it is.
I hate that it makes
Upers. I know, right?
Upers, and they're Canadian.
They're basically Canadian. They sound Canadian.
Yeah, it's like a two, and I thought they were from Canada every time.
Yeah, same state, completely different accent from where I live.
It's weird. Yeah. It's weird. I was talking to one. I kayaked in Traverse City, Michigan. I took a kayak along the Traverse City River, I think. Traverse River into Lake Michigan, or like into a tributary before Lake Michigan. And a Uper was the dude that picked me up, and he was like, "Oh yeah, like man, like sometimes I come down to Traverse City, the big city, just to get." I'm like, "This." So number one, you sound Canadian. City, yeah. Number two, this is the big city, huh? Traverse City. This is probably 8 square blocks. It's great.
Yeah, they're a mixture of like that Wisconsin, Minnesota with and then with Canadian. It's a blend of that region up there.
Great guys, great people.
It's connected to Wisconsin. Actually,
Youpers are at least 4% of our listener base.
It's basically a bunch of Polarises.
All right, fine. Youpers are cool, but you guys suck. Let's do this.
Remember Polaris?
I do
remember that guy. It's a bunch of that guys.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, that's the.
He got a cool dog. He's got a sweet dog.
Yeah,
good
great guy. Great guy. Basically a Youper, Wisconsin boy.
Pretty much Youper.
Yeah. So yeah, this place it was very relatable to me. This movie. I kind of forgot it was based here. I didn't know it was based here because I saw it whenever it came out. When was that? 2014.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I've seen this movie since then either, and it was because I didn't remember any part of this.
I didn't remember it either, so I was glad we rewatched it.
Yeah, it was a very interesting movie that I didn't realize I was going to enjoy as much as I did. And what the crazy part about this movie is that in no way did it seem real in any way. Everything that they did, from what they said to where they were to the people they were with to the rest of their lives, none of it seemed like a real place or their time. It all seemed like dreamy to me.
That's why
everything was kind of just like a heightened or less or a less heightened version of itself. And there were times where these characters made really dumb decisions and said and did things to where I wasn't sure why they did it, but because the movie got me hooked off of the music and the atmosphere and the really good cinematography, I didn't give a fuck about any of that because I was so drawn into it. Like, I think this was a pretty well-directed movie. And the thing about horror movies is that, like, a horror movie can be great or a horror movie can suck, but you're still going to enjoy it. That's a great thing about a horror movie. But this was something that was pretty original. This was a pretty original vision. And this movie wasn't really even scary. Like, there was nothing scary about this movie, but it was a really interesting, well-told story that I thought was pretty bleak. And kind of, in the end, you're kind of just like, fuck. It's just a metaphor for that. Like, one day you're just going to die and you just got to accept it. That's all this movie was. It's like, yeah, one day you're just gonna die. It's always, the clock's always ticking. There's something always coming for you, Just accept that shit.
Yeah, I actually somewhat disagree with your first part though about how it wasn't real. To like, it felt pretty authentic to me. I guess maybe it was being from that area, and I thought about the time it came out was 2014. That was about 5 years after this big economical collapse, which highly affected that area.
Economical,
green jacket, gold jacket. So I think it was just like a little shot of the time and what it was like there, and also at that age, like they're young adults, like going into their 20s. I think she was like 19, at that college age, kind of aimless, kind of trapped. And I think that was like a theme throughout the movie, is the fact that she was basically trapped by her surroundings, and she was just stuck with this world.
I'm not saying that it didn't seem real and that, like, it didn't look real and it didn't seem like they weren't living that life. Like, that was, I'm just saying that their actions and the way that they dealt with this situation just seemed so nonchalant and so, like, just not the way anyone would ever go about it. So I'm not saying that it didn't. It was definitely.
What do you mean?
What would you do?
They just didn't seem.
No, I want to know what decisions were. Number one, my word's nightmarish, which kind of goes along with what you were saying, Schwartz. Feels like a dream.
Yeah.
If you guys care.
Yeah, you never said it. You just kind of looked at the sky.
No, because you started monologuing.
Monologuing?
Yeah. You went through the whole movie in about 4 minutes.
I just told you what I liked about the movie. I'm just telling you how it made me feel. That's what
I don't think the movie was supposed to feel like it was real. No, that's where fine, I'm coming from. I'm along your point. I didn't work in the factories like Jake in the 90s in Detroit, so I don't really know what it was like, but
it was fucking boring.
I don't think it was supposed to feel real. Just based on and that's why I didn't know they were actually in Detroit until she said something about 8 Mile.
Yeah.
I thought they were.
It looked like that shit. Yeah.
It looked like it could have been anywhere.
Yeah.
I knew it was shot in Detroit, which I think, like, the cinematography was super rad, and there was a lot of cool choices made. But also, anywhere you point in that area, I imagine is going to look dope. And they just set up some dope shots and some dope locations, which I think which just doesn't take away. But I think that lends itself to how dope everything looked. They're just sweet shots in a fucked up area, and that was the look of the movie.
The simplicity of the movie too, because like it's a movie where they kind of just walk around in place to place trying to hide from this thing. There's really not much else at all going on, but you're never really not entertained. Like you're always interested. Like the music is pretty amazing.
Music's amazing.
It's super atmospheric, and I love atmospheric movies. Like this is a movie that I'm glad we watched just because like I forgot how good it was, and it was like an original vision. Like
let's talk about the music. Disaster Piece. I've been listening to him all day today, or whatever they are.
I've been listening,
and
to the
it's kind of the same as the soundtrack, but there's a little more melodics in like some of his. Anyway, big fan. I think the music. If without the music, this would have been not as good. I think I would say that.
But yeah, the music and the cinematography is definitely a good mix in this movie. Like, it's awesome.
Talking about the music, Joe.
Okay, well, I'm talking about the mix of the music and cinematography. It lends itself to each other. You just said that I wouldn't be as good at the music, and I'm saying that with the music and cinematography, it was awesome. The way that the timing of it, the camera
looked
moves
good,
a lot.
felt good.
There's like beats
that
the music hits. You know what I mean? It's really good, especially that opening scene when that girl comes running out of the house. And like all of a sudden it's like slow, and then she starts moving, and it's boom, 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 and it just spins. Like that shit was awesome. It was great. It was super. It took something that's super like you could shoot that a lot of ways, and that just made it really interesting. Like just this generic fucking middle class place, and it was just cool. I think this was a really, really interesting way to talk about like just death coming for you all the times. You don't really think about that.
It could have been a Zombievers. It could have been it could have been something to be laughed at, and it wasn't. It was a legit horror movie. It's legitimately a scary movie. It's terrifying. It's like being in a nightmare.
Yeah. It's super, super, it grips you in. It's cool.
What happened? In the movie.
Oh, like we'll go through the movie? Oh, okay.
Oh, you know what?
Movie's about an STD, dude.
The guy that gave her the the thing that followed her.
Is he a wrestler?
He was in Zombievers.
Was he?
He was?
Yep.
That's awesome.
He was the main girl's boyfriend.
Oh, hold on. I have one thing to say. I wrote this down in the
When
notes.
you said Zombievers, it clipped in my head.
That's what I was.
I just checked.
Watching.
Like, that's where he's from.
Even music wise, this was very Zombievers-esque. And it could have been that laughable, and it could have been something that was not as good as it was.
Sure.
I think it was done seriously. They took it serious. They took a horror movie serious. Didn't have to be a serious topic. Could have been silly.
Well, what's cool is that they never really explain exactly what it is. You're just like, it's
like called it. It's like Pennywise.
Yeah, it's just some sort of like being or demon or whatever the fuck it is. Like that's awesome. I love that. And like it has so many different like incarnations of what it looks like with the people too. Like it's pretty cool. And then the whole thing in the pool with the blood, like that was cool. It just you never knew what to expect.
Yeah, so it bleeds.
And I think she could only see the blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, she could only see anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that scene. Well, we'll get to that later. All right.
Go.
Hold on. Before we go in, I wrote this down. So in The Rock, because I was watching it today, you guys know this scene. Yeah, hold on. I wrote this down to talk about before. In the scene where they're trying to convince Sean Connery's trying to convince them to let him go with them. And Michael Biehn is like, yeah, now blah, blah, blah. And then Sean Connery goes, Nicolas Cage goes, I'm going with you. And he goes, yeah. He's like, you ever been in a combat situation? He goes, define combat. And they point to this guy. He's like, tell him, Rico. And the guy says this whole thing. And my whole thought was just, they're like, all right, if anyone asks, you're going to be the guy. We're just going to point to this guy and he's going to tell him what we're doing. If anyone's getting questions about the operation, you're going to tell him. And I just thought to myself, that's fucking hilarious. Why couldn't that guy just tell him? It's just like, tell him, Rico. And the parents do. He's like, blah, 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 blah. It's like, oh, it's like, what? Why did that guy have to say it? Like, is he the guy? This is his turn to be the
I think he was testing him, dude. He was testing him. He was saying, Rico, you know this? Of course I do, sir.
Either way, that was awesome. I love that. That might be my favorite part of The Rock now.
Going into four-on-one combat with extreme prejudice, blah, 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 blah.
Also, that scene where Sean Connery throws the other guy off the balcony, he's holding him by the little rope. I was like, there's no fucking way this dude's gonna be able to hold him by this rope. It was pretty crazy. It was a little like bathtub rope. Anyway, Rock, great movie. Michael Bay.
It was Clothesline. Very strong.
Yeah, Clothesline. Is that? But you think that he could hold up a human by holding it like this? Like, I don't think that's a thing.
I think he's fucking British Special Operations. He's probably pretty
also
strong.
70 years old.
He's been incarcerated. He's probably been doing push-ups the entire time. Maybe doing like wrist workouts every day, just in case.
One day,
just in case. Maybe he's learning the mission, just in case somebody points at him.
Maybe.
So it starts with a girl running out of her house.
Yeah, so this movie just starts. Yeah, it starts with a shot of down the street,
like pajamas.
Sure, she's in like a 90.
It starts with a shot of a street, and then it pans over to her girl in front of a house, and then she's running around. You're not quite sure what she's running from because I guess the POV is the person or whoever she's running from, and she stops in the middle of the street, and like they said, she's got high heels on. She looks like she was sexy timing it up a little bit, maybe. I never know what they were doing in there.
She was banging.
And then, yeah, she could have been banging. And then
she was.
This lady, her neighbor, is like, yo, you good? Because, like, obviously this girl looks sketchy as fuck just running around the street, like, looking scared. And she's like, yeah, I'm good. She's like, all right. And then the dad comes out, and the dad's like, what the hell are you doing? And she's like, Dad, I got to go. Runs in the house. And the camera just stays there, which is also one shot, which is pretty dope. She gets in the car, drives away. She drives to this abandoned beach. And at this point, you're just like, what the fuck? And she's on the phone. Her dad calls and she tells him she loves him and that she's sorry for being an asshole all the time to her and her mother. Cut to she sees something coming and it like cuts or whatever. And then the next
we still don't see shit.
Don't see nothing. You're just this girl panicking. This girl just trying to get the fuck away from something that we don't know what it is. And the next shot is boom, her dead on the fucking beach with her goddamn twisted over and her legs fucking bent backwards at the knee. Fucking, it's pretty crazy. And her.
So this thing fucks you up.
Yo, this thing fucks you up. Whatever happened to her.
Good.
No, it fucked her up. It tore her in half.
I would like to see like a death. I guess we saw the boyfriend.
A little bit. Not much, though.
We didn't see exactly what happened. He was dead.
Well, the boyfriend got raped to death, it seemed to be.
By his mom.
By his mammy.
Well, by his. This thing's like a boggart, going back to Harry Potter.
This thing's what the hell is a boggart?
This thing's like it.
Why do we got? We should probably keep Harry Potter off this podcast.
It shows itself as like what you fear the most, although I guess it doesn't because it could show up as anything. It could be something you know and something you don't.
It's just yeah, exactly. Or it could be they say the guy tells her that it could be someone she loves just to fuck with her, and the ended up to being her.
Let's just get to the interesting part. So the main girl meets this dude. And after a while, including a weird night at the movie theater where he thinks he sees something and she sees nothing, they have sex. And when they're done having sex, he chloroforms her, ties her to a wheelchair, and explains.
Yeah, he explains to her that something is coming for her at all times that wants to hurt her, and she needs to run away from it. And the only way to get rid of it is to have sex with another person and transfer it to them. Yeah. Which at that point they will have to keep doing because as long as you die, as long as the person you gave it to dies, it still comes for you. It's like
if it kills the person you passed it on to, it works its way back. It is an STD that follows. It follows and it doesn't kill you, but it follows until it does.
Technically, it does what an STD does, but it's not an STD. Like it's a metaphor, I guess, in a way. I'm sure. Like,
oh, really?
I watched. It is. Well, you're saying that's what you're just saying. You're saying that's what it is, and I guess it is, sure. But the director, what I like about it, he did it all David Lynch style. And like he's like, I'm not going to explain anything. Like I want you to just think of whatever you want it to be as yours, and I thought that was cool.
It could be several things.
It could be anything you want it to. This director also directed. You guys ever watch Under the Silver Lake?
Yes.
He directed that too, which was a pretty crazy ass movie.
That was a crazy movie.
It was a wild fucking movie. I'm not sure if it was great or kind of good. I saw it once. I'd probably watch it again, but it was pretty wild.
Jake, what are your theories on what it was? What it is?
What are they?
On like what it kind of could represent?
Yeah.
Or just what
you said it could be. You said I think both. I feel like you had
one is certainly the fact of it represents an STD. Obviously, that's just a metaphor for that. One could be the shame of maybe some sort of like sexual abuse or trauma or something like along those lines.
Did you ever get that from the main character? Did that thing with her dad, or am I just reading too far into that? Like, because at
her
the end,
dad.
Yeah, because her dad's never around, right? Like, I don't remember. Did they explain what happened to her dad? Because the parents are never there. That's another thing about this movie. You ever notice that there's no parents in this movie?
No.
Zero.
I mean,
parents.
I did notice that, but yeah, there are. You're right.
Yeah.
There are no. They're always out, or they don't care. Or did we saw the dad in the beginning? We don't see the main girl's parents at all.
Yeah,
well, the mom we see once or twice, I think.
Very brief, if at all.
Yeah, that was another crazy thing about this movie is it doesn't really show much of anything but them. It's
Seemed like they were kind of their parents were always like a little absent.
Yeah,
I guess mean, you did see, like I'm just repeating what you just said, but I mean in the sense of like they're not good parents.
Well, in the beginning, when the cops come to the house after she calls them when she gets dropped off, like the neighbors even say like those people are a mess. So I guess that's just what it implies right there, that the parents and their kids aren't really up to any good things. They're in the streets. They're street people.
Are they? They seemed fine.
I mean, they're fine.
Well, so here, riddle me this, Batman. When in the pool scene, who was the guy that she saw come in?
The pool scene.
Yeah.
The guy come in. What do you mean?
The guy came. The it came in, and
in the end, that was her dad.
That was her dad.
Yes, that's why I was asking you if.
So how did we supposed to know that?
Well, I know that only because I read something. I watched. No,
wasn't he the naked guy on the roof in the end as well?
No. You know how
wasn't that the dad?
I don't think so. That was a different dude.
In a picture in the house.
Ah, there was a picture in the house.
This movie relies a lot on.
I assumed it because she just said, "I don't want to tell you who I see." That's what I assumed.
Okay.
And then I saw who it was. And I didn't recognize him, so I just assumed it was his dad because I thought it was going to be the guy who just died, the boy, the first boy that she passed it on to.
Dude, I thought it was going to be some sort of like Lovecraftian monster. That would have been the coolest.
Just like some kind of tentacled feature.
Fucking Azathoth.
Yeah, cool. Wow.
Anyway, yeah, this movie relies a lot on like showing you things that are like seem minute, but actually have a lot to do with like the story. Like there's pictures of that. There's also pictures of the dude who they're searching for in certain places that you didn't see, and like his high school thing. Like there's a lot of things that
we saw that picture. What do you mean? When they were looking for Hugh?
Yeah, when they're looking for the guy who gave her the STD.
Which what other pictures? What other pictures do we miss on that?
Well, it's not that you don't see. You remember in the picture when you saw his emblem of his high school?
Yeah, in the porn.
So I guess
when he was flipping through porn magazines.
Yeah, and then just randomly. Did you see the tissues? The fucking tissues.
Yeah, what the fuck was that? Number one,
he was jerking off. I guess.
I mean, yeah, I understood that. But when he went up there, the kid, when they were searching the place,
he just sat down.
He sat down, brushed off the shit. Brushed off the tissues, off the Playboys, picked up the Playboys, and just started perusing, just started flipping through. Was he looking for evidence or was he just sitting there? Because she came up. I don't know. It was just weird. That was a weird thing. And then for some reason he found something. So
well, that's the thing about this movie too, is that there's not much of a plot. These people are kind of just they're kids. They're high school kids kind of going about their thing that are involved in this situation that just unfolds for them. Like they're not. They're just kind of
high schoolers.
They're just kind of peeking it. They're just kind of piecing. You know what I mean? They're not. They go home at night and sleep in their mom and dad's house. Like they have nothing to. They're kind of just living life, and this thing's just kind of chasing them around. You know, they're trying to just avoid this, and that's the crazy. This movie's really simplistic, but it's
why was Hugh bookmarking his porn with his fucking high school pictures?
I don't know. He was crying and jerking off. You know, it's kind of a thing sometimes.
Just jerking off with his tears.
Yeah. I don't know, Jake. I said a lot. What do you think about this movie? Or what we've talked about?
Nothing. I thought we were just gonna, just keep moving through, keep going through it.
Keep on going.
Do you like this movie?
Yeah, I do.
Jake said plenty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but yeah, you are talking a lot. Let's get on it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna just say what you said already.
All right, man. I'm just trying to
keep fucking explaining.
I haven't heard you in a while. I haven't heard you in a while.
Keep
8 Mile. So what was that talk about 8 Mile? Why? What do you think that had a deeper meaning?
I don't know. Ask the guy who's from there.
I don't know about the meaning. I mean, maybe just In a way,
because it was a talk about class and how she couldn't go past the 8 Mile and then she couldn't even go over here, and then the other girl just goes, yeah, my mom said the same thing, that there's cuts. Like what was that about? There had to be some more meaning to that. It was just random. Tell me.
Well, I mean, 8 Mile is a symbolic area in that in Detroit, because it is a border from the city to the suburbs. It was a line of segregation back in the day, up until like the 60s, where it was finally, you know, there a law was lifted where actually black people could move north of 8 Mile.
Oh shit.
That was a fucking law, that they couldn't even move. Black people and Jews couldn't move north of 8 Mile. Was a law back then. So that was
and
like it's a noticeable line when you drive through. I wasn't even alive at that time.
Oh, okay.
When I was voting.
So it was your parents.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
Ask your dad why he voted for that. We'll wait.
Well, he lived just north of 8 Mile, so he's like,
oh, I get it.
He doesn't want to, you know,
keep that riff raff across the tracks. Are there tracks on 8 Mile? Tell me.
I mean, I don't think it's one of those classic situations where there's a railroad that runs down 8 Mile. That's not the case.
You don't think, or you don't know?
I'm pretty sure there's not.
Okay.
I can't say for certain, but I don't think so.
Was that she was reading all these ambiguous and terrifying?
Oh, I love that little philosophical
like
clamshell.
But like it
was it e-reader? Was it a goddamn e-reader?
It was an e-reader. It was Google. Device. It was a flashlight at one point.
It was pretty awesome.
It's a Dostoevsky regurgitator.
Was this the 80s or the 90s?
It was 2014. Maybe modern. That's what was interesting about it.
I don't think we're supposed to know that.
There's no cell phones.
Yeah, but look at her little clamshell thing. That's like some random.
Yeah.
And there were modern cars in the movie.
Modern cars, and there are old cars.
And he was driving an old car, but there were
were there super modern cars in this movie?
I think at the beginning she drove away in like a Prius.
Okay.
This movie was kind of low key about class as well. Because of where they lived, what the time it was. Like I'm saying, in Detroit, I think the 8 Mile talk was, I think that hammered it in where they were, because it was kind of ambiguous of like, this is just some suburbs. But I recognized it right away when they were walking down the street. I'm like, I could have fucking lived on that street.
I used to work in that factory.
Yeah, and then I started seeing some of the buildings. And I'm like, okay, this is definitely Detroit.
I used to mine coal here.
And then I looked it up, and the dude's from Clawson, Michigan, and my dad grew up in Clawson, so it's like the same shit.
All right,
so I could recognize.
Clawson, is that so? There was a Lawson, not Clawson.
It was Clawson, not.
But
Lawson.
in the movie, it was Lawson High School.
Oh, is that what they said?
Yeah.
Jake, did you see the Catherine Bigelow movie Detroit? I've kind of wanted to see that.
I did see that.
Was it good? Yeah.
It was all right. It was, it was what it was. It was a Catherine Bigelow movie. Like it was good. It was well made.
It is what it is. Catherine Bigelow movie.
It was fine.
He hates her, huh?
I mean, I don't like her. If I met her, I'd be nice to her.
That's James Cameron's boo. He was married to her.
If I met her, I'd shake her hand and I would say, I'm a big fan. But that would be a lie.
Yeah. Does well.
I would say, I'll give you your time. I'll give you your time. I just had to say that Avatar should have won this, or whatever was up for it.
Right.
I just love Avatar because of who she is.
It might have been Avatar.
That movie was third best that year at most.
All right, so this chick
at best.
This chick, so she gets tied up. This dude tells her that she's got to bang people to get rid of this thing that's chasing her. So obviously she's like doesn't probably believe this shit. But he said, dude, the crazy part is that
he chloroformed her and tied her to the chair.
Chloroforms her and then says this to her, which was a great scene. That scene was amazing. Like that was wild because you don't know what's going on either. Like the audiences know you're with her. Like you have no idea why he would do this, but it also like you're like, what is he just trying to torture her? But at the same time, when he explains it to her, you're like, oh fuck, like that's creepy. And the shot of the thing walking up, like in the street light coming up, was pretty goddamn scary.
First time. Well, I guess it's the first time we see anything. We didn't see anything
first time
in the beginning.
And what is it? It's a woman.
It's a naked lady.
Yeah,
naked lady looks like a steam virgin.
Yeah, I guess so.
Does watch back looks like Mary Steenburgen, whatever her name is.
The mom from Step Brothers.
Yeah. Back to the Future Part 3.
Oh yeah, she was.
Yeah, Clara Clayton. Anyway, so he explains it to her. It's a thing. You got to fuck people to get rid of it. It follows you. It kills you. If it kills you, it'll kill me. So run away and fuck someone. And then he rolls her over because he could see it, which is another thing. I kind of remembered what this movie was about, but I forgot. I thought when it passed it on, you didn't have to worry about it anymore, but that wasn't the case.
Yeah. If that was the case, it'd be easy. It'd be like, all right, every no girl, it doesn't matter.
And you can still see it. It's still, you still see it and out there, but it's like, it's just going somewhere else instead of for you. It's going to the next person.
Which I mean, and we can get to, but that is kind of one of the reason there's a piece in there that kind of is how you can solve the problem. But what's your favorite part of the movie?
My favorite part of the movie is when she's looking out her window and sees the dude climb into his own house, and then he turns into his mom and kills him. That was the best scene in the whole movie.
That's the best death, you think?
That was just the most interesting scene because it's just scary to think yourself in that situation. It's like, fuck. And the fact that she ran into the house, I was pretty big of her. She had a lot of balls in that scene.
Again,
that's self-interest.
Yeah,
if she kills him, that's why the dude told her in the beginning of the movie.
But she also liked that dude.
Yeah, like they were cool with each other, but at the same time, like she's essentially a goalie.
Yeah,
like she's got to it's got to go through her to go back to him. So she's gonna now protect the other dude so it doesn't kill him, because then it's gonna go back to her again. So
which is why
it's all self-interest.
Which is why the way it ended, we'll go through later, but it's perfect, I guess. Like now, like you said that, I can't think because they're kind of like
that makes that ending
kind of watch each other's back, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you think anal sex works?
In a way.
Imagine anal sex was the only way it worked. That'd be hilarious.
Try to convince your girlfriend of that, huh?
Both facing the same way. You can only do
the only way.
You can only
the only way to fix it.
I think you only can do reverse cowgirl technically to keep all 360 degrees, even though one way is kind of difficult.
Oh, you're saying for protection. You're just talking. You're just talking smarts here.
You gotta like 360 degree. You gotta keep your heads on a swivels. So while you're doing it, you gotta be able to have eyes all around. You know what I'm saying?
In the end, when she ends up doing it with that kid, I was like, man, when they panned up to the window, I was like, I thought they were gonna show somebody coming in, and I was like, oh shit, they're gonna
kill them both.
That would have been crazy cool.
So what happens next? Where are we?
So
they saw the lady the thing comes.
Yeah.
And she's tied up in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Show her.
So he explains it. He explains it. Well, he also explains it's slow, but it's not dumb. It will always come for you. You can fucking get in a car and drive the fuck away if you want to, just to give yourself time. But remember, it'll always come for you. Again, we can get into ways of just walking.
They can physically harm it physically.
It is in the knock it out or it's a physical thing. So So, but I'm just saying what he explains, what he knows of it, and which is it'll always come, but it's slow, not dumb. And you got to fuck other people. I think those are the 3, maybe 4 things we learned right now.
So she ends up telling her family and the cops because she gets dropped off by this dude afterwards. It looks like he like just kidnapped her and tried to rape her. And no one believes him. No one believes her, obviously, because it sounds so ridiculous. And then I think she kind of thinks, was he fucking with her? Was he not? So she goes about her days and she goes to school. And then eventually she looks out the window, which was straight out of Halloween, by the way. And fucking she sees the guy or this old woman. This looks like she just escaped from like a nursing home or a hospital ward in like a nightie, just walking towards her. And she's kind of like, huh. And
she also closer and closer. The guy also said it can be anything. It could be somebody you know. It could be
sometimes
nobody.
He even says to her, it represents people you know because he wants to fuck with you.
Because it tells her that just to be mean. Yeah, just to be fucked up.
Yeah.
So right now it's just some random lady, but it's got a focus, and that's how she can tell every time that
it's just looking at her. Yeah,
coming straight for her.
But that's the thing. Like, do you think, in your guys' opinion, now, is this a demon? Is this a witch? Is it what is this? What do you guys think this is?
It's so hard to say. Like it's very original in that sense. It's this unknown. We don't know.
And is it
better? How do you define it?
Cooler, right? I mean, that makes it cool.
It's just.
But does he
its own monster in a way, and we never really exactly see what it does. We never really see it.
We see the aftermath.
I'll tell you one thing. That scene when she's bended in half like that was probably the most perfect way to represent it too. That was
This
is a great.
See the effects.
Don't let it catch up.
And he says that to her too. He says, "Don't let it touch you." That's another thing he says to her. If it touches you, it's kind of got you again. And that's why everyone had those marks on him after it touched them. They all had some sort of skin mark every time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, had it on
but
his
it didn't
chest.
kill them. I was under the impression that once it touched you, you just bend in half.
Well, that's it. That's another thing. So, okay, so let's just keep going real quick. So the cops come. No one believes them. So she goes about kind of living her life. And then what happens? Like, how do they meet that kid across? Oh, that's her neighbor. The neighbor is the kid across the street who's kind of like the guy at school is kind of banging bitches.
Well,
so she's
in her house and she sees, and after a while, and she sees the thing after. Okay, so hold on. She sees.
So her friends come. Her friends come, and the kid says so her sister and her friends are this other girl and this other dude who ends up being friends with the main character girl from back in the day. And they're kind of little posse. This is who we hang out with.
They're all neighbors.
They believe her. This is what I was going to say before. They believe that she's freaking out, and they want to take care of her.
Something's wrong. Yeah.
A lot. I said Nightmare at the beginning. Nightmare on Elm Street vibes. That was kind of my point. This is very Nightmare on Elm Street, even to the point of horror movie. Even to the point of the boyfriend living across the street and her going over to save like that. Oh, that's very vibey, very Nightmare on Elm Street. This is probably why I fucking love this movie.
Yeah. I think this is an homage to 80s horror in general. John Carpenter, fucking Wes Craven, all those dudes. But so they're all hanging out, and he says the kid's like, I'll stay up all night and stay up for you. And you realize this dude's like obsessed with this girl. And then, the window breaks. Something breaks through the window, the glass. And then you realize it's in the house.
And he goes upstairs, and then it comes out to her.
It comes to her as another topless woman who looks like a drug addict with no teeth, and it's just literally walking towards her.
And that scene, that scene shining, amazing.
Yeah, it was.
That scene's terrifying. The way it cuts,
the music, the goddamn music.
And the way, I'm talking about the music. I'm just kidding. The way it cuts, and the way the music cuts with the music, because it cuts. It's like non sequiturs every time it cuts. The music doesn't match what just happens. It's almost like, it was like different scenes scored differently, cut together. Obviously, it's all the same thing, but that just made it more terrifying. It reminded me of shit it reminded me of one thing that I edited in high school that I'll show you guys later. That was kind of very nightmarish, very kind of, it was dark, and I did the music for it. It was creepy as fuck, just like that scene. I'll show it to you later. But yeah, that scene was great. And then the tall guy, when they came in, that's the scariest one to me, the tall guy.
So, and that's another thing I want to talk about too. So do you guys think the representation, like, I think all the people walking towards her, like the girl with the no teeth, the old lady, the naked Mary Steenburgen lady, the old lady, those are very scary. And I think the tall guy was scary, but the one I didn't think was scary was the little kid. That's the only one I was like, that was all right.
That kind of was creepy. Like, it looked like a little dead kid.
Yeah, crawled through the door.
Dead kids are creepy. Yeah.
You know what we skipped
especially how it like moved.
You know what we skipped over too were the little fucking peeping Tom kids that were spying on.
That was one of the kids.
Cool.
That's right.
Was it?
That's right.
It was.
Yeah, like that was why. They were like every once in a while it was a familiar, like just a random familiar person.
This
like that you saw in a different.
This movie's very sexual. There's a lot of sexuality in this movie. It kind of just
this movie's about sex.
Yeah, most of the it following things are like there's like a tit hanging out, or it's like dongs hanging out or something. Like there's a lot of
it's about sex,
non-sexual nudity as well.
It's about sexual violation. It's not about rape per se, but he didn't rape her, but what he did was almost just as bad, because he basically gave her AIDS.
He kidnapped her and gave her a virus.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was the sex act itself was consensual, is what I mean. But what he did in the overall picture is still really bad. Which is another thing. When they caught up with this dude, how come they didn't beat the fuck out of him?
I mean, at that point,
the way he dropped her off alone.
Right.
I feel
warranted like people should gone the fuck after him at that point.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing though. At this point, she's kind of accepted that he might be telling the truth, so he's kind of just fight or flight type of thing. So maybe she just accepted as that.
She needed information. They're just like, okay.
She's seen the evidence,
she
but
kind
still
of has to know like he was doing something to survive. So maybe she just accepted as like she was. This is the thing. She can't.
That's very magnanimous of her.
No, for sure, but you can't unfuck this dude. So like this dude can help you more than he can not. You know what I mean?
Kill him.
So you could kill him, but at that point he's more help alive. Like he's been in a situation
at this point. Other than
he can.
unless he protects you, but he gives her
a little more info. Dude. Yeah, he gives her a little more info, and then he boots him out.
Yeah, but I think
I just thought they would beat the fuck out of him. But.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing about this movie too. It doesn't necessarily have much logic to a lot of the things they do. Like the fact that like when she drives away and just sits on top of the car all night and falls asleep outside of the car, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, lock yourself in that fucking car, so at least you know that something's coming in if it breaks a window or something. She's literally just sleeping on top of the fucking car. And then when she drives away and goes to the playground, she just literally sits in an open space on a swing to where she behind her, there's a million different ways for this fucking thing to show up.
Yeah, like, I get the idea of like being in the wide open and then you can see something coming from a distance. I feel
but
like
you can't see
that's kind of what
like that's not how it works.
Yeah, but you can hear a physical being coming toward you probably.
And I guess because she,
she's literally just middle of the night, she's just sitting there,
I guess.
We didn't watch her the whole time. You flick her head, but yeah, falling asleep on the hood of her car. That's not smart.
I guess you're right, but I guess because the thing literally just walks towards you. It doesn't do anything but fucking walk slow as fuck. It's like driving his daisy shit.
So, have we gotten to where she goes to the beach yet and sees the dudes on the boat?
Well, that happens after the other beach part, right? Where they get attacked by it and the friends see it for the first time.
Yes.
So we got to get to that. That's I think the next big.
That's basically the next part.
Invisible.
Yeah, which is probably the second best scene in the movie.
That like lifts her hair.
And then doesn't it change into her friend, the girl that
does? It does
at the beach. Yeah,
that was wild. And then it changes into the tall guy, and then it changes into the kid, and then it changes into some random chick.
I think that was actually the first girl that we saw in the beginning of the movie. I think.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah. Now that I think her clothes were the same.
Yeah, I noticed that, because that was like one of my favorite shots because she was running away and it just followed her run away, and it was just lingering in the back of the shot, and then she got in the car. It's all in one shot. She drives away. The kids cross over
running
from like
past
the other
her,
side, from the other side of the house, running past it.
Not seeing it,
and it just lingers back there, and then she ends up crashing the car.
What the fuck? It's just
that was a really great sequence.
And then right leading up to that, when they're all sitting on the beach, when it's coming, you see it walking in the background in that scene. I didn't watch that. I didn't see that the first time. When I watched it again, I'm watching it and I'm like, fuck, like it cuts to her 3-4 times, it getting closer and closer and closer, and then he walks past it to go take a piss. And then it's invisible, and you see her hair move up. Oh,
yeah. Well,
that shit was scary.
The best part of it is that in the timing of the editing, you realize that when they cut back to her again, you're like, it's there. Like if you're going by the way it was walking, it's there. And then slowly the hair goes up. Yeah, this is a really, what this movie reminds me of? This could have been a Shyamalan movie. I can see M. Night Shyamalan making this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Who would he be in the movie? Where would his cameo be?
He'd probably be the naked guy on the roof.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Or which was also a terrifying.
Why the fuck was that guy on the roof?
Dude, because he was just a demon hanging out on the roof, bro. He's just.
But that's not what it is. It's not a demon. It's
whatever it is. It's an entity.
But like, it doesn't fuck with you. It doesn't like. No, it does fuck with you. It just wants to walk toward you and then eventually kill you. It's not.
Yeah, that wasn't out of character place for it to be.
But not always though, because think about it. There were days when it went by where it didn't kill anybody. Like when it changed, when she fucked the neighbor kid who eventually dies by getting raped by his mom. It was like 3 or 4 days later. So I do think that it does fuck with you a little bit. I think it's
I don't think that's fucking with you.
The movie's about like the dread and the eeriness of what the fuck is coming for you at all times. Yes. And like
based on the end quote.
Sure, but not only based off the end quote, but just based off of things walking at you and the fucking even the guy being telling her that. But the days went by sometimes. So I think that like it kind of lost me there a little bit when I was trying to figure out, well, where is this thing? Like, why is it not catching up to these people? What's your thoughts on that? Like, why did days go by?
What's it doing? I don't think it's consciously fucking with you. Yeah, I think that's what this is what I think. I think it has to follow your path in a way. So wherever you go,
so
I don't. It's kind of what it seems.
Drive to the store, it's gonna go there before it comes to me coming back here.
Unless it passes you on the road, I don't know. I mean, we don't know the logistics.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
I think though, yes, I think it follows your trail unless it sees you otherwise, and then it can beeline to you.
Or just can beeline. I think I might just be able to beeline, but either way, it's walking very slow.
I think it's got GPS. I think it knows where you are.
I think it always knows where you are.
Back to the beginning, that thing was like walking up the railroad tracks when they first saw it, when he was first explaining to her in the wheelchair. It was like walking through the railroad tracks, like walked through like the woods, up the hill and shit. Like that's not where he went.
Wait, when? When was this?
When this was in the beginning, when he was explaining it to her when she was tied up in the wheelchair, when he was first showing it to her.
Yeah.
It's like, I see
first time you see it as a being.
Yeah, it's walking.
That's walking up the train tracks and all through the woods and shit just to get to them. That's not what he did, I don't think, because he drove there.
You're right. So okay.
I think it's the more of the beelining.
It's just so wherever you are, if you're over here, it's always trying to go.
Yeah, it just knows where you are. It's trying to get to you.
It's not following your path.
That is fucking trying to get scary, dude.
It's terrifying.
Always at all times.
But it's just slow.
Coming.
But so let's talk about it. Let's talk about this. Move to Hawaii.
Well, here's the thing.
It's got to swim. Yeah, it's got to swim for fucking.
It does swim.
They're poor kids. Yeah. They're poor kids.
Yes, and we're only seeing like a week of their time. Like I understand, but I'm just thinking
they can't get out. They're trapped.
Yeah, that was going to be something I was going to ask you guys. Did you guys think of ways that you would try to
move to Hawaii?
I can afford to move to Hawaii.
So it's a thing though. Like it's one thing, right?
I think so.
It's not like multiple things. It doesn't change when the bug changes. It is just one thing that's following every person in succession.
It's an entity of some sort. Yeah.
But it's a physical thing because yes, it is. It's a physical thing in the physical world because they can cover it. It swims but
it's not like a human at all times. It can do any form. It turns into blood. It can turn into anything. You know what I mean?
Well, it is always a human form. We've never seen it in non-human form.
Only some people can see it for whatever reason.
Yes, that is true. But it's always been a human form, and it just changes whatever whoever
the blood was also it. I think the blood was it too in the pool. Like I think that was it. And what about the tall fucking giant guy?
I think that guy was like seeing its blood.
He's just a tall guy.
Yeah, but
that was weird, but that was a legitimate actual person could have been that tall.
So you guys think that this thing is human?
No. I think it's a physical thing that takes on human form. It obviously.
So you don't think it could take on other forms, as it can only take on human forms?
I'm only saying what we've seen.
You've only seen. Yeah.
Only seen human.
I don't know.
Let me ask you this: if like she said in that scene, in that pool scene of like, you don't want to know, and it cuts back and it was some sort of whatever they came up with, whether it be a fucking tentacle monster or anything, whatever they decided, a zombie or what would you have chosen? Like, what would that one crazy thing would have been if you could choose? Like, what would that be?
Zombiever for sure.
A giant zombie.
Definitely.
I don't know. I think that would have taken it away from me because I like the fact that it was just basically someone just walking toward, like coming at you all the time. But I don't know. What would it be?
Okay,
because they can just
a taco
blend into
that shits ice cream
into the environment. Like the first scene, do we even like mention that when he was in the movie theater and they were playing that game of who would you want to be, and he's like, I think you'd be the girl in the yellow dress. Well, yeah. He picked the kid, but when they were sitting down, it's like, oh, you're the girl in the yellow dress, and she's like, what girl in the yellow dress?
Yeah,
like,
that's how she knew she was there.
Yeah. But that was one of the first times, so it's like that's what's scary about this thing. It could be anything. It could be anyone. It just blends in.
So
even when you think you dropped it, and that makes me think: was the girl in the first scene the girl he gave it to?
What girl in the first scene?
The girl in the very first scene that got killed.
Oh, maybe
was she the girl? You gave it to her first, and then she got
probably
killed. Does he say that?
And then it went back to him because at the time he was all kind of comfortable on the date with the girl.
Oh, good point.
So maybe like it's suddenly, since she was dead now.
Well, no, because he lied about his name. Yeah, he lied about his name, and he got a place in Detroit to lie about his name to make it seem like he lived there to bang. So I think that was his intention.
But hold on a second, though. That girl could have still been the other girl, and maybe she was the girl that he banged after that, and he's just been evading that person. That could have been a thing. Like that could be it.
Or maybe he's just still like kind of banging to protect himself.
No, I see what Jake's saying though, because it seemed a little like he wasn't expecting to see it.
Yeah. Well, I think we could
in the movie theater
far away from where he probably drove somewhere else, and then
just waited. And then he's just waiting there.
And he has to play it as cool as possible at all times. Because
but he still could have passed it off, is all I'm saying.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, at that point, let me ask you this. So if you give it to somebody and then you bang another person, is that person now second in line? The person first?
No, I think it seems to attach to one person. Okay. It seems to. So I think
multiple people.
But if you, so say you banged this person now has it, but you could still keep banging people.
Yeah.
But if this person dies and you don't know, it's on you, but you could unknowingly give it to other person.
Yes.
So if he keeps banging, he's kind of he's playing extra defense.
Once you bang, you're safe until that person dies.
Exactly.
But can you bang another person and then that's in line after that person?
As long as that person's still alive, you don't pass it on. But once that person dies, then you're contagious again.
Yes.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And you could not, like Jake's saying, you can unknowingly.
Yeah, but you're hoping that
you just got to be if you just keep it slanging.
Yeah, just keep it going just to make sure
that's why
off you. Keep the stink off you.
That's why bang a prostitute. He almost did. The kid almost did.
Did he? Did he though? Or we didn't see it, or what?
I don't think he did. But I mean, that goes back to the boat.
If
did she swim and bang those dudes on the boat?
Definitely.
It seems
she definitely did.
But so they just died immediately, and then he's back. Like, I mean, it's not definitely. It's kind of.
She swam to. Why else would she go to that boat? There was no need to do that.
We don't see her go to the boat. We just see that her cast is wet.
Get in the water.
We just see that she's wet.
Why would she take her clothes off? And
I'm just saying.
She was going to swim to the boat.
Maybe she had a second. Maybe she had a second thought and got back out of the water and left.
Well, this is the thing. When she sees it coming for her again, she's really super surprised. So I think she definitely
was she though. I don't think it was. I don't think she was.
No, she was.
I think because after she did that, she stayed in her room for like fucking
but she was still like for
days.
Like she was still like
she was very traumatized.
She was very traumatized. I think just in general.
That's the thing. You never know when it's going to come back. So she went back.
Do you think she banged both those dudes? And if you have a threesome, is it just first penetration, or in the act in general? Are they both now? Did both of them have to die?
She doesn't know. We don't know. So she just kind of like you got to keep the stink off.
And that's what's cool about this movie is that even though that we don't know, and even though that like we want to know, it's still good enough to that it doesn't matter. It's like,
what if unknown?
Yeah.
What if they? Never mind.
You got a known or?
I'm just saying, what if they both inserted at the same time?
Which hole?
Regardless.
No, holes matter. I think holes matter.
Probably matter.
Do you think holes matter? That's what I'm saying. Like, can you get it from anal? Like, can a gay guy pass it?
Sure, 100%.
So anal counts.
Yeah, anal counts.
So let's say, let's say
that you have to come.
Hypothetically,
count.
Oh yeah, and condoms.
Yeah,
I wondered about condoms myself.
I mean,
these are good questions. These are questions that I wanted.
Condoms were never mentioned in the movie. But
great ambiguity with this movie.
I think again with Jake's ambiguity, although he disagrees that the city didn't seem ambiguous. That's the whole movie. The whole movie is.
Yeah, that part.
We don't know. We don't know what's going. Yeah, it's such a good movie. It's such a fucking good movie, dude. The music is so good. Can that guy score my movie? Disaster Piece, if you're listening.
Yeah, it's a great score. Loved it.
Great score.
Felt that kind of gave it almost the 80s feel in a way.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool about it, even though
Nightmare on Elm Street.
I think the movie tried to be like the Trapped in Time, like could be kind of any time, but there was a little technology here.
Yeah, and then they throw that fucking Black Mirror clamshell thing in there. I love it. I love that because you know why? I was like this. What the fuck? Like that's what I was like. What the fuck?
Because even like the electronics they used in the end, they were like big, block TVs and like old hair blow.
All the TVs were old as fuck. Yeah, what was the plan in the pool?
Dude, I was about to ask you guys that. See if they can
electrocute the thing.
What are they gonna kill it? It's already dead.
The girl from across the pool. That made me so mad.
That was stupid.
I hated that.
Dude, that's why I'm anti-gun.
I hated that.
Same. You shouldn't be shooting guns everywhere.
No, that was wild.
Fucking idiot.
No projectiles.
Wild, dude. Hit him with some fucking powder. Antique that motherfucker so everyone could see him, and then tie his ass down.
The girl who had the blanket.
Give him to the cops.
But at the same time, I don't know if these people that were with her 100% believe her until that moment.
You're right.
So,
You're right.
I mean, like,
well, I think he did because he
but also he just wanted to bang her.
He did want to bang her, but he got hit at the beach and like scraped up at the beach. Remember?
Okay, but let me ask you this: what would you think if that was you? Like, if someone told you this and then that happened to you, the same thing happened to him on the beach? What would your interpretation be? Like, what would you be thinking is going on?
Well, I think her going back to the guy was sort of like, I'm not crazy. Like,
yeah. Oh, you want to know?
Crazy? Is that guy crazy? Like, how do you it's a pretty fucking crazy thing to say to somebody.
No, I'm saying like, yeah, if I was the guy that got hit, that thrown across the beach from an invisible entity, it would change my mind. I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I would probably tend to have a little more belief in what was going on.
And when you see the thing explode, they all saw the wall explode.
He has scars, or like he has those marks on his abdomen.
Yeah.
Fucked up, dude.
Yeah. So anyway, she gets trying to get away. She ends up maybe banging these 3 dudes in the boat. Probably, most definitely.
I mean, I think so, but we don't. I mean, we don't see it. But that's the thing is I didn't know because it didn't come off to me that she was super surprised to see this thing. I mean,
what is the next
in
time
the end?
What does it come
on the roof? Naked on the roof guy.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, because she's still freaked out, and they're like, "Oh, we can go."
They go
somewhere.
No, they drive to the pool. I think we're missing a part in between there.
Yeah,
I think we're
here. I have the list of the instances. What's naked in the pool again. Let's see. Oh no, homeboy dies first.
Who?
Did we talk about that when the dude she banged died?
Who he dies?
Yeah. So
that gets killed by his mom.
He bangs.
Oh yeah. No, that's my favorite scene.
That's before the boat. That's before she bangs the boat dudes.
Yeah.
That's when she
what causes her to bang the boat dudes.
Yes.
He dies. She's like, "Fuck, it's back on me."
Which that scene was amazing.
Go bang some boat boys.
We gotta talk about that scene. So she's in her fucking window, looking out her window late at night. Just looking out, and
this is after days. So she had sex with this guy, and this is days and days has gone by, and he hasn't seen anything. So people really don't.
She got hurt and got in the hospital and banged this dude in the hospital. We forgot to talk about that. But
yeah, how'd she get hurt?
She
from
drove
the car accident, from running away from the beach.
She was running away from the beach, got in the car, drove off without anybody. The guy tried to pull off his driveway. She crashed into the corn stalks.
Yeah.
Wakes up in the hospital. This dude bangs her, which is her neighbor. And like 3 or 4 days goes by to where nothing happens.
They've been helping. He's been helping her the whole time.
Yeah. And I think there was always a thing between them. Like she's a hot chick, and they
had sex in high school.
They're fucking high school. Yeah.
They're out of high school, but they had sex in high school.
Okay, they're in the community.
Yeah, they're 20, 21,
college,
I think
exactly.
Is their age. Jeff, the guy that passed it on initially, he was 21. She said that.
Yeah, so she's at least 20, 21.
I thought she was a freshman in community college. I thought they said.
Okay, so then 20,
so hot.
19, whatever.
Perfect age.
Yeah.
All right, so anyway, where are we at now? So she bangs the 3 dudes. Comes back. Oh yeah. Oh no, we're at the part where. So yeah.
They go to the pool.
She sees. No. We're talking about this death. We got to talk about.
So she's back.
So she sees this dude walking towards his own house. And he's in his fucking underwear.
Yeah.
Well, we got to talk about.
She sees him.
It's awesome.
Which is weird.
Yeah,
that was great.
Super fucking weird. It was awesome. It was great because you're like he's walking into his own house. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at him and you're like, is that him? That's him, right? Because it's a wide shot from her POV. You're like, that's him.
That's exactly what she's thinking.
Knocks and pulls it open, and then
she's knocking. She's trying to get his attention.
Yeah.
And he's not. That's kind of when we're like, oh fuck.
Throws the brick through the window and climbs in. She runs downstairs across the street, which I thought was pretty ballsy of her.
She tries to call. He doesn't answer.
Yeah, goes into the window, goes upstairs, and then she sees his mom banging on the door.
Yeah,
banging on the door. She's in her like nightgown.
I love how it changes so quickly.
It's always wearing pajamas. It just loves to be comfortable.
I love how it can literally go in front of one window and it's something, go in front of the next window and it's something else. That's when for a moment I thought there were multiple things, but it's not. It's just like this thing just a fucking shapeshifter. It's terrifying. It has no rhyme or reason as to what it's shifting for, except unless it does. I guess it kind of does.
I think it's just like you said before. You don't agree with me. I think it's a little fucking with people. I think it tries to fuck with you a little bit. I think it tries to get
like he said in the beginning. It may change into something just to fuck with you.
Yeah,
because this scene makes you wonder. All right, so it was almost normal for her to see that guy just walking down the street and going to his house. So maybe it's sort of disguising itself as something normal that she would see. But what if he was looking out the window and also saw the thing coming? Would he see himself as well?
I think so. Why not?
Oh,
because if he saw himself, he'd be like,
"Oh, that's
there
what
it
the
is."
Fuck?
But so her seeing him going into his own house is kind of normal.
Is it aware of who is watching?
Yeah, it's exactly. So, or does it somehow just
put
up like the observer
camouflage? Effect. Well, it knows that only certain people can see it because only a certain amount of people.
Yes, but it knows that he can see it. So if it's changed into it.
So what Jake is saying is that if he sees it, does he see the same thing as she does? And I don't know. Maybe.
Does everyone see the same entity? Because everyone can see it. Again, why didn't these? But how long has this been doing this? That's another ambiguous thing. How long have people been affected by this entity?
Yes. It's almost like a folklore, like an urban legend type of thing.
Yeah, it's a very unique monster.
Yeah,
it is. It's almost like, I mean, it's so obvious and like duh, like, and I keep saying the STD thing, but it's like someone was like, how could what's like an STD, but like more interesting? Like, how can we make this like more like a horror movie, essentially?
Well, even more than the STD thing, it is a metaphor for like death too. The fact that one day, like, you're gonna die.
Time you're right. It is
like the thing coming for you is just time, you know. So it's equally as much that too as the STD.
Yeah, but this thing's chasing you. It's not coming for you. It's not.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
I think the inevitability is the metaphor for whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so she goes into the house. This thing turns into its mom, and then he opens the door, and she's naked, which is super off-putting and like kind of gross and eerie and icky at the same time. And it fucking leaps at him, and basically, in my opinion or my observation, is rapes him to death. I'm pretty sure it rapes him to death.
I think it like suffocates him. Suffocates.
We don't see how it kills
It's
him.
grinding.
Yeah,
him.
because it seemed like it was already dead. It seemed like because of whatever she did or it did, it maybe it knocked him out like instantly.
By the time
she was like weird doing rapey stuff.
By the time it cuts to it, we see I think he's already dead, and it's just on top grinding / pissing on him, maybe squirting. Who knows?
I guess going back to that, they did see the same thing at that point because he did say, what do you want, Mom? But and she saw him as the mom. So
I don't think it's too out there to him foresee himself coming, because
what a mysterious thing.
I
don't think it's out there. I just I think that is a good question though, and I think that would alert him more than things. So if it's super smart, you know, it wouldn't be you.
It would be just some other random person. It would be your mom. Street. Yeah, or the mom. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so he dies. I mean, in my head, I'm looking at her being framed for this murder. She bounces, gets in a car, goes to the beach, she just goes out. This is the scene where she's going out and just chilling on top of her car and just sitting there.
Yeah, right. Bangs the boat boys.
And then on the boat. I don't know how long she's there, but she then goes to the beach, sees two dudes on a boat, and we think swims over and bangs them.
So, and then
passes it on.
What's the next thing? And this next thing's the guy in the roof when she leaves to go to the.
She goes home. Yeah. She's chilling. Yeah. What leads up? What's next after that?
I feel like we're missing something. Maybe we're not.
I think they go to
the pool.
The pool.
They go to the pool.
I don't know. Do they?
Naked guy on the roof is the next time.
She's got to know
something, and I think
she's got to know it's back.
Yeah. How does she know it's back?
Or else they're just fucking around in the pool.
What did she see? Yeah.
Because he goes, I have an idea. And then they pull it out. Fuck, what did we miss? Should we pause it and then go watch the video real quick?
We can. Is it on Wikipedia? Well, I do have one thought.
You don't know thoughts.
Why aren't there any like police reports unless it isn't shown? Because it seems like there's at this point a string of murders, like grisly murders that have happened in this area. Like, why isn't it something like people are talking about?
We see cops like investigating, at least in the beginning. In the very beginning, we see like a cop out there.
When she's dropped off in that weird way, like, yeah, she does talk to the cops, but there isn't any talk of like murders going on in the area. Like her next door neighbor,
you're right,
was murdered in his own home while she was there.
Like, I think it goes back to it not being
investigate that.
It's very dreamlike. It doesn't. I don't think that matters.
Dreamlike.
I don't think that really matters. It's not what it's about. There's no parents. There's no. It's kind of like you're just with these characters and you're experiencing it as they're experiencing it.
No
I get what you're saying. It's just it's weird. It's no super strange.
Always in underwear.
The thing is though, is that it's a pretty well executed movie. So I think you can get past that and it doesn't matter. It's still good. Like, which is pretty complimentary. Like it's pretty. I don't know if that's easy to do.
Also, I think they did that kind of on purpose.
100%, but it worked. That could not work.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, this movie could have been.
Yeah, like, it could have been Zombievers.
It's an ode to the direction of this movie. Like it was directed very well.
Yeah, dude. DRM, hit us up if you're listening.
You should check out his other movie if you haven't. I would like to watch that movie again. Actually,
it is a good movie. That would have been a good
Silver Lake. Yeah, it's very
Andrew Garfield's great, man.
I think it runs a little long, if I remember.
Yeah,
but
it's 2.5 hours for sure.
Yeah, that's a bit much, but it was one of those. It kind of reminded me of.
I'll watch the middle 30 minutes.
It's a noir sci-fi movie.
Yeah, it's like a stoner noir. It kind of reminded me of that Joaquin Phoenix movie, Inherent Vice.
The PTA movie.
Yeah, PTA Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, a little bit Lebowski-ish.
Yeah, a little like this is the stoner kind of noir vibe.
Yeah, it's very good though. It's like super interesting. I think there's like a 20 or 30 minute in the middle that kind of gets a little boring, but it's pretty good.
Yeah. It probably could lose.
But see, I don't mind that in movies. Like I get that, like if you're talking about a movie and you're treating someone asks you how it is and you can critique it in that way, like we're doing right now. But if I'm watching a movie that happens in it, I'm invested in these characters. I don't always mind that. Like I'm okay to go along with those like just a little bit of character development, a little bit of scenes that are a little bit boring, but maybe don't need them, but give you more. Like I'm kind of cool with that. I don't always mind that.
Yeah, because this movie did that. Like I think the dialogue they had sometimes was a little boring, but at the same time, it was used to set up like the relationships.
The tone.
It was for the backstory. It was.
The tone was always there.
It felt slow moving in a way, but this movie was only an hour and 40 minutes, which was I think a perfect time for it. It was.
I think that's a perfect time for a movie.
I never really lost it. Yeah,
hour and 45 minutes is probably like the key. Like that's a good running time.
It's a good one. I mean, there are movies that are understandably long.
Yeah, for sure, and they deserve it. But those movies have really great stories that they're telling. That's like Departed or Dune or something of that magnitude.
Yeah. But movies like this, I feel keep it around an hour and a half, 2 hours, and we're all gonna have a good time.
Also, about the what were we just talking about? The tone. That's the thing. Like this movie's tone sets in the very beginning, that opening scene with the girl running around, the camera spinning, and the music, and it's dreadful. It's like The Witch, or it's like you know what I mean. It's like the dread of it. That's what I love about it. And in those scenes you're talking about, that the dialogue might not be that interesting, that tone is still there, so you're still super into it. I think that's what keeps me in it, at least, because it was like the first time I saw Sicario, because the music in that movie mixed with the visuals was so amazing too. It was amazing. I was just into it. Like I was just in. I was like, this is amazing. Like it kept me interested in every aspect, every minute. I loved it. That music was awesome, mixed with the crazy cinematography too.
Never seen it. Sorry, I had to pee. What'd I miss?
We were just talking about the aesthetics of the movie, the way how the music and everything is really good. But we said that before. But we're just talking about
and the tone of it, just kind of how it was very like mellow and kind of doomish, and the dialogue was some sort of a little bit on the boring side, but it was all kind of used for little things like character development and history and all that jazz.
You're just hanging out with these people. There's not much of a plot. You're just kind of hanging out with these people.
And their lives are fairly boring. Like they're that age and they don't really have much going on.
But you're never bored with this movie.
They're just there. Yeah, we're not bored.
What's going on with them is not boring.
Their lives are very simple, and suddenly this fucking crazy thing enters their life.
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you think? What do you think their connection to the movie It was? It's kind of got some parallels.
To the Stevie, what do you mean?
I don't know. It's called It Follows, and there's a horror movie called It. There had to be somebody thinking about that.
Well, again, this movie, like we were talking about, is kind of an homage to all 80s horror movies, so it's probably has to do with that too. Like there's little bits of everything in it. Like
true.
A lot of things that just reminds you of. So I'm sure that had a lot to do with it. I think the closing shot of this movie was absolutely perfect. It was literally just a shot following them. It was absolutely amazing.
Pennywise was a shapeshifter.
He was.
True.
In the book, he's almost like a Lovecraftian kind of monster.
Yeah, he shows up like that every now and then, or he'll show up like
lights. These giant lights at a certain point too that just blind you.
Yep. The highlights.
Yeah.
The highlights. The
deadlights, right?
Deadlights. The deadlights. We all float down here. He comes back as Georgie.
Yeah.
Comes back as his fucking native clown. I mean, I feel like there were some parallels there. But you're right. There was parallels to all kinds of fucking 80s.
And that's basically it. The like I guess we can go. I guess that dude dies. They go to the kid who's in love with her.
Did you talk about the pool scene?
That's what we're doing now. So the kid who's in love with her is like, yo, I got an idea. They drive to this like giant abandoned building that looks like a prep school or some sort of establishment where there's a giant gymnasium with a pool in it. And they go there. I think it's abandoned. It's closed. If not abandoned, it's definitely closed.
Yeah, it just looks like their school. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah. And they go in there and they start placing all these objects, lamps, TVs, tables, folding chairs, typewriters, just all these big solid objects that
electric.
Yeah. And they put it around the pool. She gets in the pool so that they can. What was the plan? What was the plan?
It seemed like to me that they were going to electrocute it. That's what I got out of it.
But wouldn't she get electrocuted?
Yeah, but obviously their plan didn't work either way.
I think to your point of sometimes they made stupid decisions, I think this was one of those decisions.
Oh yeah.
But it was also because it was that dweeb's decision. That idiot shouldn't be making a decision.
Because as they're putting these things around, you're kind of like, what the fuck are they doing? And you're kind of like, what is going on? And also, why did the monster or demon or entity or whatever the fuck you want to call it, why do you throw the things at her? Just jump into the pool.
So that was the most interesting part is when it came in.
Because it didn't with her.
It just started throwing shit at her, trying to kill her. Well, I think it just tries to kill you. I don't disagree that it doesn't fuck with you. I disagree that it would. I don't know. I guess you're right. I guess it kind of fucks with you. I was just saying it doesn't just stand there and fuck with you to scare you. I think once it has eyes on you, it has one goal, and that is to get to you and to kill you.
Sure.
I don't think it's just like Michael Myers where every now and then it'll just stand out your window and stare at you. I think if you see it coming out your window, it's coming for you. But in the pool scene, it did just stand there.
In the midst of it though, fucking with you, I think if it has the chance, that's what I interpret from what that was, because I didn't know it, and I thought to myself, well, maybe it's just trying to scare her before it kills her, because it literally would have just drowned her. It didn't even put any effort into it. Just literally was holding her to the water until it got shot, which was a great looking shot. By the way. Great shot.
Yeah, and so it comes in, it starts. So I guess their plan was for it to get in the water, and then they were going to electrocute it. So and then somehow that was good. It is a physical being, so it would have burnt. I mean, I don't think it would have killed it, but maybe it would have burnt. Who knows?
That's true. Getting a flamethrower would have been a pretty good idea.
Yeah, flamethrower, powder, just some spray paint. Get paint like Jake does at fur parties. He puts red paint on fur.
Nice.
Do that to it. That way you could see it. Then it's just a thing walking around. The scariest part about it is, I mean, before you get into the philosophy of just something coming for you, the scariest part of it is it's an invisible, though yet physical being that has one goal, and that is to kill you again. Exactly opposite of a Terminator. Well, I guess it's not the opposite of Terminator. It's the opposite of the T800 in T2, because it will stop at nothing to protect you. Right,
Yeah.
Jake?
How ironic.
Exactly.
How ironic.
It's no zombie, but that's for sure.
Because in the first one, he was doing nothing but trying to kill him.
I know. And that's what makes the second one so much better.
Exactly.
So ironic.
It's so fucking good, dude.
It's great. It's a great movie. It's a fucking great movie.
Imagine the first time you ever saw Terminator 2 and you didn't know that Schwarzenegger was the protector and then the cop was the bad guy.
Unless you watched
the hallway scene.
Unless you saw the trailer.
Unless you didn't. But if
I don't watch trailers. I don't like
saw
hype.
the first one. Because not everyone back in those days knew. This was 1992.
Then that's awesome. That's
Only
great.
idiots watch trailers.
Awesome.
How
There's a lot of good things.
Is that?
There's a great movie.
Imagine that's like not knowing Anakin was Darth Vader. That's that level.
Did you that picture I sent you guys of George Lucas in next to him all burnt up? How funny he was like this. Oh, how funny was that? Just imagine George Lucas' direction. You just scream like scream like this.
Just say no.
You think they were asked James Earl Jones to record that? Was that his actual voice?
Yeah, it was. I think.
That's awesome.
I think it was James Earl Jones' voice, but it was him in the suit. It was
I'm sure.
Hayden Christensen in the suit.
Sure.
They wanted to put someone else in the suit, but he was like, "No, just give me high heels."
All right, so the pool scene happens. It drags her into the water. She's about to die. This fucking kid starts firing a fucking gun like a fucking idiot, and he gets lucky, and it shoots the guy dead in the pool.
Shoots Clamshell Girl in the leg.
Yeah, Clamshell Girl shot in the leg. The pool floods with blood that only homegirl, who's our main character, can see. And you're like, all right, well, that ain't fucking good. I'm not sure what the fuck that is, but can't be good. They drive fucking home. Cuts to the next day. She fucks homeboy that's been trying to fuck her the whole movie. They guess they're in love. They go to the hospital to visit the girl who got shot in the fucking knee. She reads this quote from her clamshell that's super dark, super bleak, basically saying, wherever you are at all times, you just got to be careful because something's coming for you. And this kid's passed out because he's tired.
It's saying that the real agony isn't death. It's knowing that death is inevitable. Yes. In so many words.
It's coming to you. She stares at him. She's like, yeah, this dude's going to die. Cut to them walking down the street in their neighborhood. They're just holding hands, so that's why I said her.
Well, first he was driving around looking at prostitutes.
Was that before the hospital or after?
I think it was
that was right. I think that was right after the hospital.
Right after he banged her, right?
Right after he banged her.
I think it was right after he banged her, right before the hospital. Okay. Then it cuts to the hospital.
That's what it was. And then
which we never see if he did or did not bang.
Yeah, and then they're walking down the street holding hands. It's cute because
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether he did or not because it's coming for him no matter what.
Yeah, because then we see someone behind them on the sidewalk walking, but we don't know if that's
normal
in or not.
Person from the from that.
It could have been.
Sure,
it could have been.
We don't know.
And then the final shot is a shot, steadicam shot behind them, following them, cut to black.
Yeah,
pretty great.
His POV.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
That's top spinning in the end of Inception.
Oh yeah,
pretty great.
Indeed.
Was it all a dream? Used to read Word Up magazine.
I don't know. It wasn't. No, it wasn't a dream.
Could have been.
Why?
I don't think so.
You know, in the very beginning, right before she bangs Hugh, she takes a pill.
Takes a pill?
She takes a pill.
When? Oh, from her medicine cabinet.
Yeah. Well,
Doesn't she find pills in his medicine cabinet too?
So what's all that about?
What's that about? I didn't even think about that.
I don't even
Watching it a second time. I'm thinking because this is.
How have you not mentioned this till right now? This is making me rethink a lot of things right
because she was having sex. She knew she was going to have sex. In my head, I was just like, maybe it was just birth control. Maybe that's her birth control, whatever. Because it's because this, like, sex is thrown in your face in this movie. But also, maybe it was all a dream. Maybe she's tripping.
Why would the pill signify a dream? Like she's like taking.
Maybe it's not a dream, but maybe she's tripping, or maybe she didn't take the pill that day.
Nah, I don't believe. I don't want to believe that. Maybe that is what happened, but I'm not going to believe that's what I think because that would make me not like this movie.
Oh, why?
Because that's just a cop out.
Not a dream. I didn't even notice these. Maybe it was something else. Maybe it was.
I noticed the pills when she found him in his house, but I didn't notice the pill she took before she banged him.
She takes one.
Where was it? She
takes one when she's putting on that little Barbie dress after she walks upstairs. First time we see all of her friends. The only
spot where it would be plausible to put it.
Yeah. She gets up. She goes up. She looks in the mirror. She puts on lipstick. She takes a pill. She goes downstairs.
All right, that was cool. That's a good movie, man. That is what I really like about this movie. Like I said in the beginning, I think that I was monologuing was just that if you don't know what you're expecting, it's gonna hit you in a pretty big way. You're just like, Jesus, like this is pretty interesting. This is pretty. It's a pretty singular vision. Like as much as we say that it had a lot of references to a lot of movies we love, and it did. It's got its own spin from this dude. Like I feel like this dude made this movie, and this dude probably could have only made this movie. You know what I mean?
The references that I think of are none have to do with story.
Just theme and
how it's made, the feel, the music,
and even the cinematography
shots. Yeah,
has the references to it, but it's still its own thing. It's still very much this dude's thing.
Yeah.
Very good movie.
Very good movie.
A lot.
VGM.
I would recommend this to. And another thing I want to talk about on this podcast was the 2010s has been a pretty great time for horror. There's been a lot of good horror movies in the 2010s.
Yeah.
There were a lot of good ones.
A new breed of horror.
A new breed of horror. Yeah. I mean, James Wan was still killing it too, but then you had like Ari Aster, Jordan Peele, Robert Eggers. You got this movie.
The A24.
You got A24 stuff. You got Autopsy of Jane Doe. You got like Suspiria. There's a lot of good. Even Ex Machina is a pretty scary movie. You know what I mean? There's a lot of good. Of good.
Alex Garland's got another good
Yeah, Men looks great. Annihilation was
super good. I loved Annihilation.
I think Ex Machina, Annihilation, or I think Alex Garland's just on the same level as Robert Eggers.
New one looks super weird. Like seems like really good at creating environments and atmospheres.
For sure.
So
and the DP he
another
uses
one
has a great look, man. They have that crisp Fincher vibe. You know what I mean? That very Fincher vibe. Yeah, man. There's a lot of good horror in the last like 10, 12 years.
What's the bigger message? What's the bigger message of this movie? Is there a bigger message? Is this movie about banging? Is this movie about sex? Is this movie about
that a bunch of times?
Is this movie that it's but is that what it is? Or I guess the one we talked about is the inevitable death coming.
Well, like I said, what the director said is that he has it in his head of what it is, but he's not going to tell you because he wants you to be whatever you want it to be. So
how could it? What do you mean he has an idea? What else could it be?
So someone
like as opposed to a demon or
no, as I think someone asked him straight up, like, what is this entity? What is this being? He said, well, I know what it is, but I'm not going to tell you because I want you to just think whatever you want.
He doesn't know.
He probably does. And
it's
his own made up.
It is death, right? Like in general, it's just death.
Sure, maybe
whatever it is in his head.
That's obviously what you think.
But what do you think? What do you think he's going to say? You think he's going to say it is like a specific being that, or
sure, why not?
I don't think.
I would love a specific explanation, but I'm glad they don't.
Also things.
I'm glad they don't spell it out for us in the movie.
There's a lot of things in this movie of what ifs and whys.
That would bore me.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's none of that's explained. That's what he says. Like,
there's too many movies that are just like, here's what happened and what everything is.
Yeah.
It's just a nightmare.
Fun.
We're just watching a nightmare.
Yeah, for sure. That's right. I agree.
It's not. I agree with that. It's not fun. This movie wouldn't have been fun if in the end they were like, this is this.
They kill it and
they take a mask off
and
Geezer Ebenezer.
Yeah.
They shoot it and it becomes some sort of like physical object they can take into the scientist and be like, oh, it's a demon.
Oh yeah.
But there's certain things
they take it to like a theologist.
There's actually certain things I would have been cool with. Like if it ended up being an alien, that would have been cool. If it ended up being
I still like what they did. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, me too. Me too. I love what they did.
Alien would have been interesting.
So
you're saying he thinks that his answer could be anything because we don't know, but
it could have
been.
You think
he's going as wild as it? You know, his plan was this is an alien that came down and decided to do this, but he didn't incorporate any of that in there.
No, I'm not saying that. I think that's what it is, but I'm saying it could be that. From listening to him talk, I think it's more of the Michael Myers kind of person of just this thing that's just always trying to hurt things. You know what I mean? I think it's more of that.
It's the grim.
Yeah. Great movie. I rank it pretty high. I'm going 15.
Where do you rank it?
15.
15, goddamn.
Good damn.
I was going to say 25, 25. We're going 25.
Ooh, a high one.
Also, this movie was made for 1.3 million and made 23 million, so it made a lot of money.
For him. I would love this guy to make another movie. This guy should make another movie. I mean, Silver Lake was all right, but whatever.
Sure.
Under the Silver Lake
Under
was
the Silver Lake.
Yeah. But I would like to see some more by him.
Yeah.
We should make one. We should write a movie. Let's write a movie. Horror movie. Ready to go.
That'd be cool. And this is another. I think this is another good example of.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say this is another good example of something that is doable. Like this is a movie
I was gonna say
you can make for a low budget.
That's
It's very obtainable.
Yeah.
Like nothing was over the top. That I think that was a choice of why there wasn't very violent, because they didn't need to show it. They just showed the aftermath.
Well, he made this movie for a very little amount of money, like
and no actors.
Yeah,
no adult actors. So not even trying to get really A-list actors.
Yeah.
And the kids, and we didn't even talk about the acting. They were great for being people I've never heard of or never seen before. They were great. I mean, I looked up the main characters, and I don't recognize anything they've been in. So
I've only seen the dude, her boyfriend at the end, the dude she bangs the like the nerdy kid. I've seen him in some stuff,
and the kid, and the huge Zombievers,
and the Zombievers guy.
She was in a movie called Villains that I saw with.
That was cool. She was in that. But yeah, her boyfriend at the end, the nerdy kid, Keir Gilchrist or something. He was in a lot of TV shows. He's in
all the porn you watch.
He was in a Showtime show like United States of Tara, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
The one with Toni Collette, and then he's in a Netflix show now. I think Abnormal.
If you got it, would you pass it on?
Of course.
You have to survive, right? You're just gonna die.
Yeah, dude.
You almost have to.
I guess you can evade it would as long as you want.
It would be
try to keep getting away from it and not kill anybody.
Oh yeah,
else.
we didn't talk about how number one I rank it at 20, I think number 20.
Nice. This
Yep.
is a high one.
20. 7.4875.
Ooh.
It's a high ranking, dude.
What was your highest number? What category was your highest number?
Good question. Let me look at the list. Sound, music.
Perfect.
8.1 I gave it. Oh no, I'm sorry. The ending.
Okay. Yeah,
I gave the ending the highest. I gave
the ending's like a 9. It's pretty great.
Yeah. I gave it 8.5. Super good.
It literally
and the beginning is great.
Yeah. That's the thing. If you can catch somebody in the beginning of a movie, you got a good record. I mean, you got a good chance of.
That's right.
Of doing it, you know what I mean?
And I'm into that. I hate slow burns.
I don't mind. No, this is the thing. It can still be a slow burn and still catch me.
Yeah,
it can still catch you. Though. It's just got to have. It's got to be interesting. Is what
it's got to. The beginning has to intrigue me. It has to suck me in. There's a lot of, but there's also how many times have you were like, oh, you only watched like 10 minutes of it. It gets good at 20 minutes in. It's like, I gotta wait 20 minutes before this fucking thing gets good. Like that happens a lot.
Sure, but I mean,
I don't like those.
I give movies at least like 45 minutes, I guess, just to see if it happens.
45 minutes? That's good. It's a whole movie.
That's a number.
It's got to be at least somewhat interesting. If it's like unwatchable,
but see, there's different things. Like what?
Like sometimes
characters are my number one. Characters are always got to be my number one thing. If I'm interested in the characters, and the movie's kind of shitty. Besides for that, that'll still keep me there for a little while if the characters are really good.
I mean, some things that are just poorly shot, poorly acted, poorly directed are just unwatchable.
Sure.
We just don't want to watch
we
them.
This was not one of those.
This was not. This was all.
We haven't watched any movies like that though that were not shot well. At least we haven't watched any movies shot well. Have we?
Let us go to the list.
Yeah. What if we? Well, hold on a second.
Let's look at the bottom of our list.
Okay.
I mean, Cannibal Holocaust was kind of meant to be shitty.
Yeah, that was a documentary.
Not good. Not shot well.
A documentary. It was a mix.
It was meant to look like a documentary. So
only part of it. Only part of it was.
It was a documentary.
Only part of it was.
Down by Law was pretty bad.
Down by Law.
Yeah, that was an independent film. That was a terrible movie. That was a fucking. I can't believe you wasted Jim Jarmusch on that fucking movie. Jimmy.
I know that was back when we were doing like we all haven't seen it bullshit like early on. So that was just because I never saw it, and so yeah, you're right. That was a bad choice.
Alien versus Predator.
Other Jarmusch I would rather do.
Alien vs Predator was a rad movie. You guys
we should be able to have some like. I think we should have some director redemptions maybe after.
Well, we all have our months. We all have our months.
Yes,
everyone on their birthday months gets to pick whatever movie they want, seen it or not.
And and that's what Justin wants to do. Justin wants to come on and defend like Network and V for Vendetta and shit.
Ooh, I would love that. You know what, Justin? You know what we should watch with Justin is Cloud Atlas. Cloud Atlas is Justin's like favorite movie.
He's mentioned that before.
Yeah, we should.
I'll ask him about that.
Justin, dude.
I'll
That'd be awesome. Because I think he would have some great things. Because he's read the book.
Justin, Justin, hit us up.
So you guys would do Cloud Atlas with Justin?
No.
I don't know. Maybe.
But I would love to hear his arguments on Network.
See, I think the worst movie we've watched recently was definitely V for Vendetta, and I'm sorry for that. Like, I remember that being a great movie. That was a terrible fucking movie.
Justin recently told me
Dark
he really
City
liked Dark City.
Oh, that's the one
Dark
he
City
said.
was
That's
great.
what he said.
Dark City's a great movie.
See, Anthony and I both did not like Dark City.
Dark City's
you guys
a great
like Dark
movie,
City,
man. You guys gotta watch that again.
I would watch it again if we got someone on to defend it.
All right,
see, maybe it's good in the end, but like to me, that was one of those that was hard to watch. Dark City was hard to watch.
It is hard to watch.
I didn't think so at all.
It did not keep my interest at all.
I loved that movie. I thought that was an awesome movie. All right, this was a good movie. Everybody should watch It Follows. Everybody watch. Tell your grandma to watch it. Tell your friend to watch it.
We ranked them. Do we got a movie
with the
next
gimpy
up?
leg to watch it?
Yeah, next up is Galaxy Quest.
Nice.
Shit. All right.
Schwartz's pick.
Schwartz's pick.
No, this was a Schwartz pick.
Who did direct?
This is an Anthony pick.
Who did
Galaxy Quest?
Galaxy Quest was directed.
Was that 98? Is that 1998?
The one and only.
I think 98 or 99.
Forget. I just can't pronounce his name. It is Dean Parasot.
What did he do? What else did he do?
Oh, you don't know Dean?
Never heard of him.
What? He did Galaxy Quest. He did the Great Red 2.
What the fuck is that?
Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Oh, okay.
All right, this fucking better
Charlie
be
Countryman.
Ooh, I love Charlie Countryman. That's a good Shia LaBeouf movie.
Come on. You never heard of him or what?
Shia LaBeouf just had a kid, dude. With Mia Goth.
Fake news.
No, that's real. Anyway, watch this movie. Shout out to the big cat. Meow.